Well, howdy, y'all. Welcome back to Bajuka Bog Radio. I'm your host, MTG Ghoul Dude, and today we're going to be talking about MDFCs in the mana base. And if you're new to the channel, or you're not so new to the channel, MDFCs are modal dual-faced cards. Now, recently I have started a lands themed video series I like to call Lands That Land. And for those of you that have not seen the series, I have outlined so far I've done one video. And somebody commented, Daniel Bellius, if you're watching, thanks for the comment. He's commented and said that one of his lands was the Emeria's Call, the Emeria's Land, the modal dual face card. And it really got me to thinking, would I actually consider that a land? Would that be considered a land for the mana base? Because it has the two sides. So all day I have been digging and researching, and it's just, you really don't know what the rules for a card are until you just like go real in depth down the rabbit hole for them. So that's what I did. I kind of went maybe a little too far, because then I started looking at layers and everything, and then that was not fun. But anyways, MDFCs are a very tricky road to grapple with. So here are a few instances in which you can have trouble with MDFCs. One, anything that searches for a land card, not just, what are they called? The Temple Discovery type effects. Anything that searches for a land card and not a basic land type, those cannot fetch MDFC cards with spells on the front of them and lands on the back. I've tried it. It does not work. You couldn't. And so the lands, I think this is a very interesting topic, because I went down the rabbit hole, and I've realized that there are instances in which you can make any tutor a tutor for a land. In that retrospect, black has it has the more unconditional tutors, or that's why black is more powerful when it comes to tutors. Then you have white. White does more enchantments and artifacts. If we ever get an MDFC that is, or actually we do have, I think it's Enlightened Tutor gets enchantments and artifacts. One of those. The white ones get enchantments and artifacts. Not a lot of them get creatures. So for that, you could actually get like the artifact lands that, that do which one was it? The Ancient Den that's an artifact land that's white. The Rustvale Bridge, that's, any of those lands that do have that ability to be that are artifacts and that tap for colors. You definitely search for those. Blue, on the other hand, is a very interesting there's a workaround for that one too, because we do now have MDFCs that double as spells on the front and lands on the back. So you can technically turn a mystical tutor into a ramp spell, pretty much. I mean, if you're able to, mystical tutor turn 1, and you're missing your second land drop, guess what? You can mystical tutor for any of those MDFCs that have that are spells on the front, that are instant or sorceries, which to me is just insane. Black, we've already covered. Red, gamble is about the most you're gonna get out of that. I mean, you could get a land with gamble anyway. But green, the color combinations really open up when you have multiple colors of the real good ones. Green is going to be able to land ramp good anyway, but if you're looking for a creature that has a land, you're probably going to be able to get it because there's quite a couple creatures that are MDFCs, but you won't be able to get those instants, those sorceries, the any lands you want, the artifacts, stuff like that. You won't be able to get those. So that is something interesting that I found. And now I'm going to go on ahead and get to the main focus of the topic that I wanted to get onto. But first, I want to say I appreciate everybody that is continued to support the channel, like, comment, subscribing, everything. I couldn't do it without you guys. And now on to the main topic. I had to shout out everybody for the channel. So, do I consider MDFCs, modal dual face cards, as land cards? No. I will not be able to personally take those MDFCs into consideration, and I'm gonna tell you why. There's a couple reasons, so I'm just gonna go with the easiest one to look to just be like, yep, can't do that. And that is, you cannot search for them. You cannot search your library for them. You can use your graveyard for them, but you cannot use a expedition map effect and take them from your library to your hand and flip it over onto the land side and play it. You cannot do that. Now MDFCs, the double duels, the double lands, those are fine. I would be fine. You could definitely do those because they are a land on the front and the back. The second reason, even if they were fetchable, they are regular lands. Some of them are dual colored lands, but they do not have the types. That is another reason why, because sometimes you need a specific one, and you might be playing black white, and now guess what? You don't have uh, a black or white land to search for. And because most of these modal dual face card, these MDFCs come in tapped, unless you pay 3 life or something like that. These MDFCs are worse than Shocklands, in my opinion, because you're paying 3 mana, 3 life for a untapped basic, which is wild. So that is the other reason. And yes, I understand that modal dual MDFCs are they are the way, because they free up slots in decks, because you are now sacrificing. You're taking a land out and replacing it with a spell that can be a land. You're filling 2 slots at the same time. Now, if you are willing to take that incremental loss, that small loss, where you may draw a hand where that's all you have, and you're not willing to pitch it, that's up to you. I'm completely fine, and I completely understand with the fact that using an MDFC is really good in those aspects, especially if you're playing like 3 colors and your MDFCs are wide range, so you can play, you got the ones from like recently Modern Horizons 3 that have the dual land types. You can do black or white or blue or black, and so on and so on. Those are really good. I like those a lot. I like the new, or maybe that was Modern Horizons 2. I think it was Modern Horizons 2. Modern Horizons 3 had the singular ones, but they were pretty good. They were creatures on the front and lands on the back. But yeah, so that's my deal, my whole spiel about modern MDFCs. What do you guys think? This was a rabbit hole that I went down, and I didn't list off all my reasons for not calling MDFCs lands, because I mean, you can make MDFCs lands. They're front and back lands if you really wanted to. I mean, I'm sure there's a workaround way to make all creatures lands, and then everything in your hand is a land that's a creature, and then everything in your deck is a basic. There's ways around that. I'm sure there's ways to break the game. But for me, that is a layer that I am not willing to break just to go to prove a point. And if you are willing to go ahead, leave it out of the comments below. Because I'm not gonna lie, I love to learn things. I love to, see how things play out. But MDFCs aren't as good, and that's why they're not gonna make my land lists. Because and most of those are like specifically like, okay, they're artifact and just their removal, and yeah, they are really good. They are very playable, but for me, I don't consider them wholly just strictly lands because there's an option there. As you can play it as a land, you can play it not as a land. So that's my spiel on that. What do you guys think? Let me know. But that is going to be it. It's kind of a short one. I wanted to kind of get the point across and tell you my reasons why. Just to see what you guys think. But that is going to be it, and I will see you guys next time in the graveyard.